Hey everybody, I'm Anthony.
I'm John.
Is Iron Man 3 a good start for Phase 2?
Find out in this review. Hello everybody, we are the Dynamic Buzz, if you didn't hear it just a couple seconds ago.
And We're back from hiatus.
Yeah, and this is our Iron Man 3 review. We just saw this movie, and we're going to talk about it. So, first let's talk about, us coming into the film. Before we saw it, what did we think the past couple months of seeing it? So, what exactly were you excited? You were excited for it.
We both were. It reminded me a little bit of Iron Man 1 and Batman The Dark Knight Rises. Just from the trailer, from going into it.
We both agreed on that.
I felt like we were going to see him getting attacked by the Mandarin. And I don't know, I had a lot going into it, especially when you see him dragging a new Iron Man suit, which I wasn't too keen on because it wasn't his traditional hot rod red and yellow. So, I mean, going into it, I was really excited. And then as it went on, we found out that there were going to be, 54 new suits that were going to be included in this, a lot of which looked like the Hulkbuster, which we thought, but then later they announced that it wasn't a Hulkbuster. And the God Killer from the new comic books, but it's called Heartbreaker. But no, I was really excited. I thought, we were going to have a CG miracle. Something magical's about to happen.
Yeah, this is actually, I would say, probably my most anticipated movie for, the summer. I guess you would say this is a summer movie.
Yeah, summer started.
Kind of more excited to see this than, Star Trek and Man of Steel. And the trailers made it look phenomenal. The sneak preview, we got during the Super Bowl and stuff, it was incredible, and it made it look like this was going to be the best Iron Man movie. So now that we've talked about, what exactly, what our feelings were before, are they the same after we've seen the movie?
Less. I liked it, and people are going to get me wrong when I say this. When I say I was disappointed, it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I just had an idea that it was going to be a lot better than it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to agree. There was... Okay, Iron Man 1 was phenomenal, and then you get number 2, which was kind of just nothing, really. Yeah. It was the movie, but really, it didn't really get better. Right? It was just... I don't know. It was just the same. And now this movie, coming into it, at the beginning and kind of towards the middle, you really thought this was going to be incredible and stuff, but then there was a lot of stuff that it lacked. I don't know. I really, really, really like this movie in certain parts, but then there were certain parts that it just made me like, wow, this is completely terrible. Not terrible, just it
not
wasn't
to the standard that we
not the standard that I thought it would be. And that kind of leads us to the plot. Now, the plot was pretty good. I liked it.
It had a good plot, yeah.
What I kind of got mad about a little bit is they didn't really explain much. They just this is what happened. This is the Mandarin. He's doing this. We didn't really know the purpose. The Mandarin just said, yeah, he wants to kill.
But I like that. I like the idea that, okay, I thought they were going to have a little bit of a tie-in to... I think it comes with the 9 rings in the first movie.
10, right? 10
it's
rings.
10 rings, but I feel like in the first movie it comes with the 9 rings. I might be wrong. I just wanted it to be related to that particular organization.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that would have been cool, and that, he was some kind of lost leader or leader who just now stepped up. I liked the whole him coming in, and it wasn't like a big, long explanation, because that was just a waste of time.
Yeah, and we'll talk about a lot of stuff that we didn't like about it more in the spoiler section, because it's really hard to talk about this without really spoiling it for you guys, but really, the plot was pretty decent. Enjoyed it. It lacked in some spots, but it was pretty good. So this leads us to acting, and of course Robert Downey Jr. did an amazing job as Tony Stark, and he always does. He's always really good with whatever character he does in a movie. And this one, I feel like this one is his best Tony Stark in this movie, because we've seen different elements of him. He's
vulnerable.
Vulnerable. He's got his fun. He's funnier than ever in this one. I loved it, laughing the whole time, and I don't know. I thought it was really, really good. And Ben Kingsley, the Mandarin. He did well, but we'll talk a little bit about, in the spoilers, it was kind of weird sometimes, I felt like. And
I liked Rhodes, like how they amped up Rhodes and Pepper's character, which I guess what Robert Downey Jr. asked for when they started filming. I feel like there was a lot more they could have done with Rhodey, but
oh yeah,
but I liked it. I think Don Cheadle did a great job. They bumped him up to a new level, and he did more than he did in the first two movies.
yeah, but I still feel he's just like a character that's just there, not really making him anything. He was War Machine the first one. Now he's Iron Patriot, and he's still doing this same thing he did pretty much in the first movie. They're not really giving him a big, big role, I guess you would say.
And they didn't explain why he was in the Avengers. Because I would think, after they said, oh, we need an Iron Man, but you're too, self-destructive. Let's take the other guy in an Iron Man suit who has military training, who's good at working on a team.
I don't know.
Nick Fury was just like, we can only have one black guy on this team. And that's me.
Yeah, but the acting was really, really good. There was a couple other small roles, like there was a kid in there. We'll talk about him a little more in the spoilers, but he did a really, really good job as a little kid. Usually little kids in movies are quite annoying, but I enjoyed this kid in it.
Good job, kiddo.
And then the special effects. Now, I think this is something to mention because I thought they did very, very well. Certain parts.
This is Sparta!
Especially at the very end. I thought the special effects with all the suits.
Well,
and
that was
stuff.
the build-up. I mean, the whole purpose of this movie, I guarantee you that he only made this movie so, he thought, if I'm going to do a trilogy, in the end, this is what I'm going to want to do. Mm-hmm. It all led up to this moment, or that 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, and special effects was great. I liked the action. It was definitely an action-packed movie to watch, and enjoyed it a lot. So.
Yeah.
That's basically what we got to say about Iron Man 3, just as a movie. Now we're going to go to the spoilers now, and if you haven't seen this movie, please do not spoil this for yourself. Just stop it right now, and then come back to it after you watch it.
We'll mention some spoilers. We're not going to mention the big spoilers.
We're going to mention those.
Okay, I guess we're going to mention the big spoilers. So please stop watching.
Yeah.
Please don't comment being pissed off about it, because we told you just now that there are going to be spoilers. Hey, John, put a big red screen up for us.
Alright,
let's go.
These are the spoilers, and basically we're going to start off talking about the end. Pretty much, they leave you, right when they introduce this little kid in the movie, I knew exactly what this was going to be. There's been a rumor that Robert Downey Jr. might not sign his contract to become Iron Man in the future. He might not be part of the Avengers. Maybe not another Iron Man. So, of course, they're going to play the safe route and show you that this kid maybe, could be...
No, he's not going to be Iron Lad.
No, he could be, they could put it in the future and say, oh, he grew up to be Iron Man or whatever. Yeah, I think that was kind of like a safe thing, Maybe it's Tony Stark, maybe it could be someone else. Maybe it won't even be the kid, but they're showing that, it could be someone else.
Yeah.
So, I thought that was definitely, I was like, I was pretty ticked that they did that, but I guess, I understand, because it would be weird if they didn't really hint that he couldn't be Iron Man anymore, and then there's a new Iron Man,
No, see, what irritates me is the fact that Iron Man started the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. Mm-hmm. Nick Fury walks in and says, you are part of a larger universe, you're just not aware of it yet. So, Iron Man 2 expands on that. Nick Fury, Black Widow are introduced, S.H.I.E.L.D. is really introduced, and in the end you see all the other Avengers doing their thing. And then we get this movie where they mention S.H.I.E.L.D. once, they mention the Avengers, so don't get me wrong, the whole point is he has anxiety now, he has anxiety attacks because of what happened in New York. But we go off to the point where, things are happening in America. People are getting attacked, people are getting killed. You're telling me that Captain America wasn't going to get involved. I know this is an Iron Man movie, but let's just say we built this universe and we said they're all in here together. So, Captain America did not get involved at all. And that kind of irritated me. Then, I can understand, maybe he's off doing the Winter Soldier thing. Maybe that's happening at the same time. But where's S.H.I.E.L.D. at? You're telling me that S.H.I.E.L.D. is not involved with this terrorist taking over and killing people.
Now, in these Phase 2 movies, we're going to face these villains that are bigger than what they have faced in the Avengers. And with I don't see how you can involve any of the other Avengers in these single movies, because these villains are bigger than what the character can handle by themselves. You know, so I don't know. I'm kind of disappointed in that they used his like panic attacks when he thought about what happened in New York as a wall to kind of keep you
not talk about it
and keep you from wondering where are the Avengers, all this kind of stuff. And that was kind of disappointing because I at least wanted a little bit more. I can in the movie business you can kind of figure that not all these main characters are going to be in these movies and stuff, but you would like to you really know what's kind of going on, and that really wasn't said, and that was kind of disappointing.
It at least makes sense.
Yeah. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the ending with with Pepper. I think we both agree that Pepper should have died. Yeah.
A little bit. Let's explain the theory behind this before we talk about. All right. There is rumor that that Iron Man would help his friends in space or in the cosmos. I forget what the quote was, but at a point, Pepper falls 200 feet to the ground into fire, and she had been experimented on with this. It's not Exodus. I forget how they pronounce it.
Yeah,
I thought it was Exodus. But anyway, so there's like nanotech and stuff inside of them. So like if you lose
Extremis.
Extremis.
That's what it is.
So if you lose a limb, it grows back. You can't really get hurt. Virtually are an organic robot. So Pepper gets this inside of her, and so she falls and she survives. But if she had died, then it would have meant that, hey, she's dead. You have nothing tying you to Earth anymore. You really don't care. You care about the Avengers, but that's someone else. Go to space.
Yeah,
join the Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's exactly
tie it in.
That's exactly what I wanted. I thought that's what was going to happen. That would be the perfect. He'd have nothing to. He'd want to be away from Earth because of her death and kind of what he's going through with Avengers. So he goes to Earth. He goes to space to kind of escape everything, and then he meets the Guardians of the Galaxy and helps them out.
And wouldn't that have been a cool ending? Like Nick Fury showed up at the end of this movie. Then Star-Lord shows up, or Rocket Raccoon comes in. And then, when you join space. And then he goes to space, and then Guardians of the Galaxy can be the prequel to, or can, explain the Guardians of the Galaxy teaming up, and then at the end, they're like, we need help.
Yeah, before we talk about, what happens in the credits and what we thought would happen, what actually happened, let's first talk about, real quick, the Mandarin not being the Mandarin,
that was funny.
That was kind of cool. I like that, but then they kind of exaggerated, oh, he's an actor, he's really really funny, and I understand it was a comedy movie, but I was kind of annoyed, him just oh, I want a beer, just it kind of got
here's some
overdone.
Lesson.
Yeah,
it's like play beer pong.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I liked it. I thought that was a great twist. I'm usually not too keen on twists in movies like that, but that was really funny. I had an LOL moment.
It tricked me because I was watching a review and they were talking about now you notice that it never showed in the trailers him actually fighting the Mandarin, so it's oh wow, I didn't see that coming at all. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was really happy how they had the Mandarin character after the real Mandarin character.
But yeah, and they underplayed AIM.
Yeah.
Because AIM is a big deal in the Marvel universe.
That's what I'm saying. How they kind of didn't really explain a lot of stuff, like the Extremis stuff. The stuff that had inside the bodies. No one knew really what that was. Besides, it was something that could grow back plant limbs and your own limbs. No one else knew. Oh, why do they get really explosive and stuff like that? They didn't really explain much, and they didn't explain a bunch of AIM stuff. It was kind of a little disappointing on that part.
AIM is a think tank.
Yeah. But then, okay, so we're pretty much done now, but we're going to talk about the credit scene. In Marvel movies, that's probably the most...
It was a slap in the face, America.
The one thing I was looking forward to this movie is the credit scene because, this is the start of Phase 2, and I wanted to see, what are we going to get from Phase 2? And we get the credit scene, and we get nothing, pretty much.
You wait.
It was just Tony Stark talking to Bruce Banner, and...
As a therapist. It's a joke scene. It's like the shawarma.
Yeah.
But, and we didn't mention about this, at the end, since we're doing spoilers, he has the chest piece removed.
Mm-hmm.
Don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I really don't like that. So now that he has that removed, notice that at the end of the credits, at the very end, like it said, Thor will return to Avengers.
Yeah.
And this one just said Tony will return, and that's it. It never says Iron Man will return; it says Tony will return.
Yeah. So.
And this movie did a lot more. It did more focus like how Batman: Dark Knight Rises was more of a Bruce Wayne story. This was more of a Tony Stark story.
Mm-hmm. And I just wish
He is Iron
they
Man.
like they did the credit scene, something hinting to Guardians of the Galaxy. Didn't have to show the characters. You didn't have to do anything. Just somehow hinting to Guardians of the Galaxy. They casted Star-Lord a long time ago. They had enough time to do a 1-minute cutscene with him in it or something, you know.
Anything.
And it was disappointing. I was really, really, really ticked off. So. I guess that's basically it of our review. Overall, pretty good movie. It just, our comic book brain is just going off and...
I know, it's weird, because my comic book brain said, it's a good movie, enjoy it. My movie brain is the part saying, this wasn't that amazing.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as Iron Man 1. You know what? Anyone wants to argue with me about it, go ahead.
Alright.
My
So
email
argue
site.
with him in the comments. Not the comics.
Or
Don't make
not.
a comic.
If we're actually get comments, please let them be. Nice.
Alright, that's basically it. We are the Dynamic Buzz. Check us out on...
Like us on Twitter. Wow, that was wrong. Follow us on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. Check out our website at www.thedynamicbuzz.com. We have a bunch of videos. We have past episodes. We have interviews from Gym City Comic Con, from Cincinnati or Chicago Comic Con C2E2. We have, and that's it for videos. But yeah, check out our blogs. Check us out. We're back from hiatus. We're here.